Hey guys, Jamison Redding with the Road Trip Angler. Today I'm going to share my thoughts on the Outcast Sporting Gear Striker. The Striker is a raft designed by Outcast to fit two anglers comfortably, but be able to pack down very quickly and easily so that you can transport it to and from the water. It was something that I've been looking for in a raft, and I'm going to be doing a couple of reviews on a couple of different models here and then comparing the two. But we spent a day out on the water in this Striker and I want to share my thoughts. The Striker is a two-person raft designed to get you out on the water very quickly and very easily. It packs down and is assembled pretty easily actually. I put this thing together by myself and it didn't take very long at all. There was one thing that I'd like to say. I bought this Striker online from Ed's Fly Shop, and when I received it, the box was pretty messed up, probably from shipping. A couple of the parts were missing, and on a Saturday, I sent one email to him, made a phone call, and by Monday, those parts were being shipped to me from Outcast Sporting Gear. So customer service from both Ed's shop and from Outcast so far, in my experience, has been top notch. So if you're looking at one of these rafts at the end of the video, be sure to check out Ed's Fly Shop because they really made all the difference in the world getting me the parts in time to be able to give you guys this video. According to Outcast Sporting Gear, the Striker was designed to be a lightweight, compact rig for two anglers. They could easily be transported to and from the water and put together very quickly to allow you that access. At 9 feet 5 inches long and 5 feet wide, this boat will fit in the bed of a standard pickup truck when fully inflated, which makes it really easy to transport without needing a trailer. It also only weighs in at 102 pounds, so two anglers can move it around very easily even when it's fully rigged. Also, right out of the box, it was very easy to put together. It doesn't have a frame, so there was no real tools needed. The seat mounts to some frame pieces, but those go right onto the raft, and when you inflate the raft, it holds them in place. So if you need to inflate this at the water and then deflate it and even haul it or store it in a trunk of a car or in the back of an SUV, you could do that. So what comes in the box with the Outcast Striker? You're gonna get the oars, the oar locks, two seats, one for the angler up front and one for the rower. You're also going to get a couple of mounting plates, and there's some different positions that you can slide those into because there's some welded kind of pockets for those to be held, but you do need the addition of whatever accessory that you want to mount to those in order to do it. It also comes standard with the oars, which is really nice because you don't need a lot of other gear to be able to get this boat out on the water. It has an inflatable brace in the front that is kind of a leaning post, so if you are standing up, it gives you that kind of third point of contact, which is going to give you some confidence. And I have to say, when I first saw it, I wondered how rigid and stiff that would be. When I was out on the water at 220 pounds, I actually leaned all the way into it, and I have to say that it held my weight. And it does give you a lot of confidence. The boat's made up of 4 inflatable chambers. One is actually your leaning post, and then of course you have your tubes, one on each side, and then a chamber in the floor, and all of those are inflated to a maximum of 3 PSI. We added the YakAttack switch to those bases in a couple of places so that we could mount some camera gear on the boat, and it made it very easy with those 3 mounts already included. It also features a self-bailing floor, which means if water does come in, there are some places that it can escape out of the bottom of the boat. Both seats are adjustable forward and aft, so you can dial in that cockpit area of the boat and really get it to fit your needs and your size. And also there's a couple of different places that you can mount those oar locks, so you do have a little bit of adjustment even though you don't have a frame that surrounds the entire boat. Here's what I think about the Outcast Sporting Gear Striker. I have been looking for a 2-person option to be able to get out on the water with friends, or even maybe take my children. My kids are younger, but they're starting to get older, and not having the ability to take them on the water in the same boat as me is something that I've really been interested in. So I was excited to try this out. But this is really made for river fishing. You're gonna be floating down rapids, or if you're gonna be floating down through current, that is where this is going to excel. It's not something that I'm going to try to cross a big open lake or to take inshore fishing. Obviously, where these excel is in moving water and in rivers, and that's a place that I really love to fish. But to be completely honest with you, I haven't had a lot of experience with these. So this is kind of my raw, firsthand, ordered one, not knowing, never trying it out, and took it out of the box and put it together. You get the seats and you get the oars, but one thing, and one key thing I think that was missing from the package, is some type of pump. Now, I haven't mentioned the price yet, but it was $36.99. And at $36.99, I think that a pump should be included. I did, however, find it a couple of places online for a little bit less than that, but the MSRP is $36.99, and most places that advertised it for less than that were sold out of the product. Luckily, because I have some other inflatable watercraft, I had a pump and was able to get this pumped up. And if you're going to be pumping this up a lot and deflating and inflating it, and you have to basically put it in the back of a car or something, I recommend getting an electric pump, because it's going to save you a whole lot of time before you get on the water. So right off the bat, the things that I liked about it is that it did come with the oars. The seats were very easy to install, and I didn't even need tools to do so. The other thing I liked about it is that it had some mounting options so that I could add those GoPros without having to glue any kind of bases on. I could move them around, and with the addition of some of those YakAttack products, I was able to get that done very quickly. And if you're not familiar with YakAttack, they make a lot of accessories from kayak fishing, which is where I've spent probably the last decade of my fishing career, is in a kayak. So it was very easy for me to transition some of those accessories over to this boat. I can say that this boat felt very light on the water, but it's also a lighter raft. I mean, at 102 pounds, it's probably 30 or 40 pounds lighter than some of the other rafts that are in this class. And I think that's because it doesn't have the big frame, but the kind of counterpart to that is you do get a little bit of flex in the seat if you lean back or you're moving forward, or when you're on the oars pretty hard, you can feel that flex kind of throughout the boat, because the boat is essentially what's tying all that together and acting as the frame. Now, I didn't see it being a big problem, but we did go to an area that was pretty flat and calm water. The water's cold, most of the fish are in those slower pools that we were fishing for, even though we didn't catch any. So we didn't really want to take this boat and go right to running whitewater with it until we got a feel for it and we were comfortable in the boat. Well, I decided to get in the front and give it a try with the fly rod, not because I feel like I'm gonna catch anything necessarily, because it is cold and it is winter time and the water temp is pretty low, but I just wanted to see how snag-free everything was up here. It looks pretty clean, but I'm gonna strip some line and make a few casts. The boat seemed plenty stable as well. And the only thing I would say kind of in that realm is that while it wasn't the boat that wasn't stable, because I could stand on one side and have no issues there, I didn't feel like the boat was going to flip at all, plenty of stability. But the floor, being only inflated to 3 PSI, I felt was a little spongy or a little squishy. Now, I really don't know how I would solve that issue. It's just something you have to get used to. And when I was standing up in the front and my buddy would get on the oars, if I wasn't prepared for what he was going to do, it would kind of throw me off, because when that weight would transfer, the floor would give and kind of sink in a little bit. And that's where that leaning post really came in handy, because I was able to kind of keep that third point of contact and it didn't throw me out. The other thing about the floor is that it is pretty slick, so if you're not wearing shoes that grip pretty decently, you may move around a little bit on it. Now, I had on my boots and I didn't have any issues with my feet slipping around or sliding around on it, but I could see that becoming a problem if it got wet. And speaking of getting wet, it is self-belling, but that also means that if you're standing up or putting too much weight in one area, you can have some water come into the floor area, but it does kind of quickly drain back off to the side. Overall though, both of us were able to stand in the boat, and I think after some getting used to, we would have no problem with the floor being a little bit spongy or just, you know, moving a little under our feet, because it is only inflated to 3 PSI. The seats were very comfortable and the front seat swivels, so it makes it easy for you to turn different directions and fish as you float down the river, and you don't really have to maneuver the boat. However, that being said, the boat is super easy to maneuver. I mean, with one stroke on one side, I can spin the boat all the way around 180 degrees very, very easily. And I know that if I was approaching some whitewater or some rapids, getting the boat to where I wanted it to go and finding that line would be relatively easy. Now, I'm still pretty new to rowing a raft in general, but I feel like after a few times on the water, I'm going to be decently efficient at it and be able to make this boat do what I want it to do. Now, speaking about that, let's talk about the oars. I have paddled kayaks for a long time with different types of paddles, and typically when you go up the list you move into graphites and carbon paddles and fiberglass materials. Aluminum is kind of that lower price point when it comes to kayak paddles, and that's what you're getting in this setup. They are aluminum shafts with plastic blades, and I just know from experience with kayaks that this is kind of going to be some of your heavier type paddles and your least efficient because they flex more and they're just not going to move a lot of water. But being that this boat is so easy to move around, I felt like these oars did the job just fine, and it could be something that I would look at upgrading in the future. But right now, I think they move the boat okay, and they felt pretty light on the water and pretty durable as well. Moving on from the oars, I felt like the only other thing that was really missing from this setup was an easy way to anchor. Now, I know I can figure out a way to rig it because, like I said, it does come with a few plates that can be moved around, and there's one strategically placed right off the stern of the boat behind the person that's going to be rowing, and I think with a few adapters, I could come up with a way to anchor pretty quickly. But it's not there, and I'm going to have to do some thinking in order to make that happen. So who do I think this raft is for? I think it's for anyone looking to have a vessel they can float down the river with a buddy and be able to access water that might be a little harder to get to, because again, it is lightweight, it can be hauled in a pickup truck, so you don't need a trailer, which makes some of your access points difficult. Also, I think if you're a person that has a storage issue and you need to deflate this boat and not have a frame that's put together that you need to store because everything breaks down pretty small, and you could actually transport this boat in the back of an SUV or even potentially in the trunk of a car. Those are big features on this boat. You just don't have to do a lot of bolting and rigging and have this big frame. Now, there are some trade-offs to that. As I mentioned, it doesn't feel as rigid. Also, the floor could be a little bit spongy at times, so that's something I would have to get used to. And if I was going to be spending a lot of time in this boat, I would probably consider upgrading the oars. But overall, if you're looking for a vessel that can get a couple of you down the river, this might be a great option. So let me know what you guys think. I'm also going to be doing another video that compares kind of a frame setup that's in the same size category from NRS, and I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the two boats so that you can make a better decision when it comes to which one might be right for you. There he is. Yep. Oh my gosh. Just hooked in the mouth. As always, please subscribe to the channel for more tips and reviews, and thanks for watching. Road Trip Angler would like to thank our global partners for helping support the mission to get people outside and on the water.